So good morning, members and guests of the American Surgical Association. It's my great honor to serve as the Vice President of this organization, founded by Samuel David Gross of the Jefferson Medical College in 1880, and to introduce our President, Dr. Jeffrey A. Drebin, MD, PhD, FACS. I feel somewhat qualified to discuss Dr. Drebin's accomplishments with you and to introduce him today, as Jeff was an intern when I was a young junior faculty member in Baltimore, and we've been friends and colleagues for decades. Jeff was born July 20th, 1957, in Evanston, Illinois, to Martin and Lynn Drebin. His father, Martin, was the CFO of Evanston Hospital. Jeff was the eldest of 4 siblings, with his juniors being Nancy, Amy, and Greg. Jeff was raised in Evanston and served as a summer camp counselor during his teenage years. He attended the public co-ed Evanston High School, where he was an outstanding student and where he participated in high school rugby. More about that in a bit. He went on to take his undergraduate degree at Oberlin College, graduating in 1979 with highest honors, and being elected to Sigma Chi and Phi Beta Kappa. He also played rugby at Oberlin. Here are some of the requisite photos of Jeff. On the left is a very young Jeff testing his gastrointestinal tract with his grandmother, Pauline Landworth. In the middle, we have Jeff as a toddler, and on the right, Jeff with the classic elementary school photo, looking quite dapper. Here's a photo of Jeff and his rugby team at Evanston High School. Jeff is somewhere in the middle of this scrum playing prop, and thankfully he did not sustain any neck injuries at the time. Shown here are several photos of Jeff playing rugby at Oberlin. He wisely transitioned from the scrum to playing fly half. For those of you unfamiliar with rugby, the fly half typically wears number 10 and is 2 positions away from the scrum. It requires speed, dexterity, and both hand and foot coordination for passing, catching, and kicking. Here is a video from the archives that I was able to drag up. It could very well represent one of Jeff's amazing plays at Oberlin. Pay close attention to the fly half, number 10, in the green jersey, going from right to left and being a key participant in scoring a try at the very end.
Throw for Ireland. Sexton again, the wraparound. Zebo did well to hang on to that ball. Zebo to get the hands away, and the offload was beautiful. We haven't seen that too much. Sexton with the dummy, and the pass to Trimble. Brilliant by Ireland. McFadden. Fergus McFadden, Shuri. Oh, he gives it to Heaslip. Heaslip for the line. Yes!
So I ask you, did you see Jeff Drebin in that video? Does more representative archival footage exist? Following college, Jeff matriculated to Harvard Medical School, where he was accepted into the MD, PhD, MSTP program. His PhD was in immunology, and he worked with Mark Green and Robert Weinberg, 2 giants of the field. Jeff matched at Johns Hopkins for surgery, spent his intern, residency, and oncology research fellow years there between 1987 and 1993. As part of his training, like many of us, he spent 6 months overseas as an Irish surgical registrar at the Beaumont Hospital in Dublin. Jeff served as the PGY5 chief resident from 1993 to 94, and then as the Halstead chief, a combined surgical oncology fellowship, assistant chief of service, and instructor role from 1994 to 1995. Doubtless, the most important event in Jeff's life during his time at Johns Hopkins was his wedding day on February the 5th, 1989, when he and Dr. Linda Munday were married. Here's the official wedding photo from that historic day over 37 years ago. Here are a few photos from Jeff's residency. On the left, Jeff visited Linda in Lima, Peru during her medical school years where she was working in infectious disease. In the middle, Jeff and Linda participated in scuba diving in the Caribbean. And on the right, they enjoyed a 7-day whitewater rafting adventure on the Colorado River. These images represent the triumvirate of general surgery assistant chiefs of service, or Halstead chiefs, from Jeff's final year. On the left is the formal invitation to the annual Halstead Residence Party in honor of Drs. Arendt, Drebin, Finney, Lynn, and Rosengard. In the middle are the trio of general surgery assistant chiefs of service, Steve Arendt, Paul Lynn, and Jeff Drebin. On the right, and I find this remarkable, all three of the general surgery ACSs are shown here with their very young firstborn daughters born during that year. Here we depict Jeff's academic and hospital appointments in chronological order from top to bottom. Jeff spent 9 years at Washington University in St. Louis, rising to the rank of full professor of surgery and full professor of molecular biology and pharmacology. Next, Jeff spent 13 years at the University of Pennsylvania as professor of surgery, initially as the vice chair for research and chief of the division of GI surgery, and subsequently, in 2009, being named the John Ray Barton Professor and Chair of the department. Jeff departed Philadelphia in 2017 for New York City to serve as the chair of the Department of Surgery at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and just this past year, he was named the chief physician executive at Sloan Kettering. Thus far, 9 years at Sloan Kettering. Here are shown selected awards won by Dr. Drebin, commencing with his MSTP fellowship and graduation from Harvard Medical School magna cum laude. He won several awards at Johns Hopkins, including the George Zeitema Research Award, and there he was elected to Alpha Omega Alpha. At WashU, he is the recipient of an ACS Faculty Research Fellowship and an SSAT Career Development Award. He's an omnipresent top doctor and best doctor. At Penn, he won the During Outstanding Clinical Specialist Award and the Busby Surgical Leadership Award. Very notably, in 2013, Jeff was elected to the Institute of Medicine, now called the National Academy of Medicine. Listed here are Jeff's selected professional organizations and society memberships from top to bottom. Please note that as of this year, Jeff has served as the president of 4 societies: the SSO, the American Surgical Association, the Society of Clinical Surgery, and the Philadelphia Academy of Surgery. Wow. As concerns his election to the Institute of Medicine, the citation noted that Dr. Drebin's research has contributed significantly to the understanding of the genetic origins of cancer. His classic work with Mark Green on monoclonal antibodies directed against the HER2/neu protein provided the scientific foundation for the evolution of targeted therapeutics for cancer and led to the development of the first generation of targeted monoclonal antibodies, drugs for the treatment of breast cancer, including Herceptin. Jeff acknowledges that his interest in cancer biology and targeted therapeutics dates way back to the 1980s when he created and studied the first monoclonal antibodies directed against HER2/neu transformed cells for his PhD thesis. He served as a PI on multiple grants. He's been involved with the design and use of small molecule inhibitors, and at the time of this statement was written, a total of 19 residents and postdoc fellows had worked in his lab, with virtually all going on to academic positions. He holds a patent for the treatment of tumors with monoclonal antibodies against oncogene antigens. He has an H-index of 61, and his top 3 cited articles all have over 1,000 citations. Again, that's a wow. Jeff has received grants from many different funding organizations. He served on numerous study sections, participated in 2 numerous to count committees at WashU, Penn, and MSK, and nationally serves on the editorial board of 5 journals. He's given numerous invited lectures, both nationally and internationally. Jeff has over 190 peer-review articles, with his first being, quote, "Regulation of the Immune Response to Antigens of the Malignant Surface," end quote. He's over a dozen reviews and editorials. He's authored a book. He's written well over a dozen book chapters and contributed to numerous abstracts, videos, and podcasts. Dr. Drebin figures prominently in 2 institutional surgical history books. First, shown here on the left, the book by Neil Grauer entitled Old Hands, A History of the Department of Surgery at Johns Hopkins, published in 2021. He's pictured, he's referenced, and I love the following quote from the book. Quote, "Jeff Drebin, a former Cameron resident who is now chairman of surgery at the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York, recalled Cameron as being an absolute relentless teacher in the operating room. Drebin has performed hundreds of Whipples, but he still is doing that operation with Cameron looking over my shoulder." Many of us know what that means. Jeff also features prominently in a more recent publication alluded to earlier by R. Scott Jones, entitled Surgeons and Something More, The History of Surgery at the University of Pennsylvania, authored by ASA past president Clyde Barker and published by Clyde and his daughter Elizabeth in 2024. There is an entire chapter, chapter 30, devoted to Jeff, with pictures of Jeff both alone and with his mentor, Mark Green. In the book is also this wonderful photo of Jeff, Linda, and their twins, Harrison and Elizabeth. In the words of Clyde Barker from the book, quote, "Finally, how is Jeff viewed by his colleagues, and in what kind of shape does he leave the department, question mark. Unlike some surgical Jehimrats of the past, Jeff is never intimidating or ruthless. Instead, the effectiveness of his leadership style depends on his even temper, his approachability, and his consistently warm support of faculty and residents. He and his wife Linda have even restored a tradition employed by I.S. Rabden and others of welcoming faculty and residents into their home on holidays and special occasions. Jeff Drebin leaves a department that is happy, academically and financially strong, and confident of its future. In every respect, he measures up very well with the best of his professional forebears. Small wonder that we're going to miss him. This will be a very hard act to follow." As we near the close of my comments, I'd like to provide information regarding the extended Drebin family. Jeff's wife, Linda M. Munday, MD, PhD, is the chief of hospital epidemiology and infection prevention and control and an attending physician at the Elmhurst Hospital in Queens, New York. Their oldest daughter, Catherine, attended Union College, works as a CFO in the advertising technology space, and lives in the East Village. As for the twins, Elizabeth attended Colgate and just last year started at Carnegie Mellon University studying biomedical engineering. She lives in Pittsburgh. Harrison attended Amherst and currently is a third-year medical student at Columbia, living in Washington Heights, and just took part 2, I think, of the boards. We're rooting for you. Here's a fairly recent picture of the Drebin offspring, with Harrison in the center, flanked by elder sister Catherine on our left and Elizabeth on our right. So in summary, Jeff Drebin is a son and older brother to 3 siblings, a husband, a father of 3, a gifted surgeon and scientist, an educator, a mentor and role model, a leader and collaborator, an inventor and visionary, a healthcare executive, and in summary, an extraordinary figure in contemporary medicine and surgery. So last year's hit movie, Superman, starred David Cornsweet as Clark Kent and Superman. Today we honor Superman 2026, the president of the American Surgical Association, Dr. Jeffrey Drebin.
Thank you. That was great.